Welcome back to the Toyota Lounge, powered by your Front Range Toyota dealerships. This is the DNVR Avalanche pregame show presented by Coors Light. The Avs are taking on the Winnipeg Jets to help ring in the new year. The Avs rocking a 4-game win streak, feeling good. They got multiple players into the lineup tonight, although a player does come out or two as well. So a little bit all over the place that we'll get into there. On the flip side, Winnipeg played last night. They did win, but they did play last night. So the Avs catching the good side of a Segababa here, where they're the rested team a little bit. We talk about scheduled losses. Kind of feels like this one is a scheduled win.
Well, yeah, exactly. Until you, like you say, until you play the game, right? You know what I mean?
Of course, of course.
But yeah, it's kind of nice. I just feel that I don't remember the last time the Avs played a team that was on a back-to-back.
They were the rested team versus a tired team. It's been a long time.
It's been a long time.
A lot of sludge games, but not too many.
Yeah, but this one is you got to take advantage of it. I think as much as the 27th game we didn't like because you traveled that day and all that stuff, it ended up being fine. But you know what I mean? It's just like at least they got to come back and then you practice, day off practice game. You know what I mean? So it's you should be ready. You should be flying, especially like you said, with some new people in the lineup. And then you got to take advantage of the reality that Jets are a great team and they've been really good this year still, like last year. But they did play last night. That's a fact. And that's something you got to expose and go after this morning. I mean, not this morning, tonight.
6 p.m. is sort of like the morning
I know,
after those 8:30 games, man. It feels a little.
I almost like better the 1 p.m. instead of like 6 p.m. is like it's that 1
right
hour
in between.
Just like,
yeah.
Do I eat chicken and pasta? Do I eat eggs and French toast? You know what I mean? Like
can't decide.
That's it. It's always about food, right? So.
As Chad has already mentioned, it is Comrie in net for Winnipeg, so you don't run into Hellebuck, which is probably a boon for the Avs on top of their tired back-to-back legs.
Yep.
Colorado's side, this is only their second game in 7 days. Is there a little bit of rust that you expect, or do you think the game on the 27th has them good to go?
No, I think the game on the 27th has them, again, we were talking post-game on the 27th, remember? It's like you and I were both shocked the first 10 minutes. Actually, they
came out gunning.
Gunning. I was shocked, and I was like, wow, I really thought the turkey was going to be talking, but it wasn't, you know what I mean? It was like a Red Bull talking, you know what I mean? They were flying. So, and like I said, I do believe you come back and then you get back into the routine of practices, and they haven't had a lot of practices this past month. If you look at the schedule, I'm talking about real practices, not morning skate practices or optionals, or I'm talking about real practices. I think they were able to get a couple good practices in there. Get a day off in there. You're at home cook, family, bed, whatever, all that kind of stuff. And then I think it does play to your advantage. And I think you're not only the rust is off, but you actually focused on a couple things these past few days that you want to tighten up. I'm sure as a team, coaches are always find something to that they want to tighten up. So they did some drills to make sure that they were honing on a few things that they can do better. And then I think tonight you'll see, a fresh team and a team that should be flying,
So most of them won't be rusty, but Jonathan Drouin back in the lineup finally for the Avs. Good to have him back, of course, but first of all, expectations for him and his return. But secondly, hard to put any reasonable expectations on what lines are tonight because with the Drouin back in the lineup, you're expecting things to get shuffled around. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, and I listened to, was it Drew this morning, one of his interviews, Jonathan? Was it yesterday, today? I mean, one of our interviews.
I think it was yesterday.
Was it yesterday? I don't remember. Everything blurs in. But he was saying that, so people understand, when you're injured and you're not practicing with the team and you're really just there on those morning skates with a red jersey, and then
just
you're really
skating around,
out.
kinda, yeah.
They don't really want you around. That's every team, not just the Avalanche. You don't feel part of it. That's why it's always hard mentally, to be injured, because you're on your own, and you do skate, and you work out with the strength conditioning people, and it's not fun, by the way. Like I said, Manson, that was his wrist, and boy, oh boy, that means you can skate. It's usually not fun. If you want to get hurt, you got to hurt your feet or your knee or something.
Get to rest up a little bit.
Or you don't get like bag skated every day. But, for Drouin, I think he made a comment that was really important for me, that resonated with me. That's the difference a little bit the last 6-7 years, I would say, around the league. Everyone has one of them. Toby Peterson does the skills for the Avalanche. And it's a very important part that back then it used to be the strength conditioning guy getting on the ice with you and, making you skate, where now it's more about skills and you're really not losing that. If you're Jonathan, for example, we all know it was some sort of an injury right here. And obviously got hit in the same spot, which was bad luck, but, was able to still, feel his hands and feel the game again. It's a little different than being hit, getting taking a hit and playing against a real opponent and all that stuff. But at least your timing, your skills, you're not losing that. So I think it's very important. And again, we don't talk much about Toby Peterson. He's a great kid and really was a very good player at CC and obviously in the NHL. And he's a fine young gentleman. And it's fun to see him out there every day because it's a very essential part for guys that are hurt. So,
question in the Toyota chat from Bedhead Guy who says, "Hey guys, any thoughts on picking up Puljujarvi?" Not anymore. Had they not made the Parssinen deal, I think there would have been probably more of a conversation around it. Yeah. But Parssinen fills that same role that you would expect out of a Puljujarvi as kind of your depth scoring type of winger role player. So hard to fit him now.
And then to add more to that, give you a little trick there, like the chat, like when you see a guy clear, and the guy doesn't get moved in the next 48 hours, that means that the interest around the league's probably not there.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Because a lot of times a team will say, yes, you know what? I'll let him clear. Let's make sure he clears. And once he clears, I'll give you Rudo, whatever. Because we always, contract for a contract. Teams rarely... It's rare they want to just add a contract like that without dropping one.
The Avs have been pretty regularly.
Yeah, but it depends. Like most teams, they'll be like, okay, if he clears, then he's already cleared. I can throw him in the minors. You know what I mean? So I can, but I'll trade you a contract. I'm trying to get rid of a contract. So, but if you see nothing for 48 hours, that would tell you that the interest around the league is low or not there. You know what I mean? Usually that gives you a pretty good indication. Especially on a contract like that. He's not on a big contract. And so, I mean, at some point, you are on your last chance somewhere, And unfortunately, for the big fella, I really thought it was going to be a better career so far for him, in my book.
Those double hip surgery is tough, man.
Exactly, yeah.
Happy New Year, fam. Love all of you. Appreciate y'all.
Yes.
Getting into tonight, though, how much of this... I know there was some stuff floating around about Casey Middlestat being the 4C or whatever. That's not going to last. Don't overthink that. But how much work do the Avs have to do now to refine some of their chemistry with a guy like Drouin dropping into the lineup and adding Parssinen too?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great thing when you're adding bodies, but then you're right. Then you're trying to find your chemistry. Well, who works well with what? And then you try to go back to what's worked before. And, as far as Casey's concerned, he's in a tough stretch. I think he knows that. Coaches know that. We know that. Chat knows that. It's a long year. I haven't lost faith in Casey Middlestat. You have to go through it. Now, if you look at on paper, you got Mac, and then if you're trying to throw Ross back in the middle, because now you're gaining, right? Natushkin back, obviously, a certain amount of games ago. Lehkonen, now it's Drouin that's coming back. At some point, like, someone has to shift, So, and then, Kelly with Logan and Kiviranta have been really good, so you're trying not to disrupt that.
Yeah.
So by default, you're kind of ending up there on the fourth line. And again, it's such a number. I'm not a line guy. For me, at the end of the day, I don't believe he's going to be playing 7-8 minutes. I don't think you're going to see that.
Yep.
I don't foresee that. But sometimes that's what it takes, like to kind of wake you up a little bit and shake you out of it. Sometimes seeing your board out, your name out of the lineup or on the fourth line, it does hit you when you walk in. It's like a little slap, like, or if you don't see your number, you're like, where? Oh God, I'm out of the lineup, So it's a little, but that's life in the National Hockey League. I'm not worried about it. Sometimes you got to go through it. And you'll come back stronger than it's like a guy getting scratched, a young guy, you know what I mean? Like, and usually you come back and you're better. I'm not worried about Casey, but it's time for him to, like we've talked about before, to get going.
One more quick thing, and then we'll get to your three keys. Calvin DeHaan also out for Keaton Middleton.
Yeah.
Not my personal favorite move, but I think you can understand it when you look at the forward core. Giovanni Smith comes out of the lineup. If you're a believer in wanting an enforcer, that's kind of where this move adds up to, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think Calvin's been playing good. I think, again, sometimes it's managing games as well, for an older guy. Not that he needs it, not that he's out of shape. But again, you're trying to insert that in the lineup. Something's got to come out, and that's just what's coming out. It's not going to be Josh. It's not going to be Sam.
Yep.
It's not going to be Sam Malinsky. So it's, by default, it is Calvin DeHaan. You know what I mean? So,
Let's be honest. This is where Calvin DeHaan is at in his career. He's a number 6 veteran guy.
Yeah.
That's part of the story. Now, I'd still play him over Middleton if it were me.
I agree with you. Oh, yeah, I agree. And nothing against Keaton, too. Like, it's, different set of the skills or whatever it is that you're bringing. And obviously, him being physicality and size and reach. And, so, again, we're not coaching, but that's just a fact that the lineup has changed that way.
Yep.
But we'll jump in.
Yep. Let's just jump into your three keys then.
Yeah, I kept it simple. I mean, honestly, number one, I said, win the games within the game. You know what I mean? I do believe the 5-on-5 game tonight, especially coming on a Sega Baba. Winnipeg leads the league at plus 49 in goal differential. These guys put pucks in net and get, scoring chances at 5-on-5, and they're clicking and their lines are going, and the special teams is going to be important again. We always saw right before the break, as we saw, it's important. It can win or lose you games, and then I think tempo wise, you got to set the tempo, and that's one of the games within the game. You got to make sure you got momentum and tempo on your side tonight. Number two, come out swinging. Sega Baba for the Jets, 4-0 win last night, right, against Nashville. You got to play your game, not theirs, and establish a presence right away. And it's the same thing all the time. No gifts, no gimmies. Don't give them anything. If they have to earn it, then let them earn it. And they beat you outright, then awesome. And you gave them no gift. I'm talking about not on the scoreboard. I'm talking about on the momentum side of things, the first 10, 15 minutes. Don't give them anything.
Yeah.
Number three, home dominance. It starts tonight. Obviously, they won their last home game. They're right before that crazy game on the 27th, whatever. But now you're on a homestand. Jets are in first place. Rudo talks about standings all the time. Jets are in first place. Know where you're at in the standings and, build some home momentum. Obviously, Drouin's in tonight. Manson last game. Lineup's looking healthy, for once, even though you lost Ivan week to week now, which is, again, it's a depth piece that's been really good for the Avalanche. So it seems like they're adding and they're always losing one. You know what I mean? This is a more quiet one, but it's still an important one. But, hey, that's what you do tonight. Pedal to the metal. Everybody ropes, everybody rides tonight, and then you go at them, and it's important. Second half of the season is now. It's not game 41. It's usually now, right after the break, the holiday break, and then you have a homestand. So this is a perfect time for the opportunity for the Avalanche to keep going because they're 8-2 in their last 10. So this is a hot team. The Jets are a hot team, so something's going to give tonight.
The Avs aren't quite a hot team, but we do have our injury update chart as well, because as much as I'd like to say the Avs are getting healthier, it's not entirely true with Ivan getting added to the injury list with an upper body. They didn't get any more specific than that on the week-to-week schedule. Unfortunate. Nothing against Ivan, though. If you had to pick between Ivan and Drouin in your lineup, you're taking Jonathan Drouin. So
yes,
there is that at least. And at least we can say that Calvin DeHaan not on the injured list, just off for the night when it comes to Keaton Middleton being in the lineup. So marginally healthier, I suppose, if you want to talk about that for the Avs. They're
I just don't like that. If I can nitpick it,
yeah, of course.
It was top six. You had obviously Val, then you had, Lecky, and then Drouin, and, they were mixing so many top 6 pieces, and now it's become the opposite. You know what I mean? You got
all your
Ivan,
depth guys are
Wood,
injured.
you know what I mean? Like, it's like, come on. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying you want to spread them all out. I'm saying it just seems like it's never balanced. You know what I mean? And anyway, again, this is, like you said, this is one that you can overcome, Ivan, but it still stings because the kid was doing a good job and he's learning, valuable lessons, especially this time of the year. So hopefully it's not too long for him.
Love ringing in the new year with some Lord of the Rings there, Ezra. Thank you. I saw one. There's like, if you play the right SpongeBob episode tonight, you'll get the I know what's funnier than 24, and then right at midnight they say 25 because it's 2025. Very funny. Very.
I
funny.
get it.
As much as my unfunny jokes are nice, let's hear from Mr. Serious himself, head coach Jared Bednar, on tonight's game.
We're still able to get a couple of much-needed practice days in there, too, so guys should be feeling good for tonight.
How's Drouin?
He's good. He's playing tonight.
How excited are you to have the band getting back together here slowly?
It's nice. Yeah, it's nice to finally start, trickling some guys back, especially in that forward group, because we've been missing some of those top 6 guys all year, haven't been able to kind of get our lines the way we wanted them or the way we predicted that we would have them from the start of the year. So to be adding back a player like Drew and the caliber player he is, and just like all the little things he's going to do for us. We'll go back on the number 1 power play unit tonight and play in our top 6. So I think it should give our group a spark there and look for some little bit of a different chemistry on our second line.
As well as his team's been playing, this is a pretty good measuring stick against the division leaders.
Yeah, it is. Like they're obviously at the top of the league for a reason. Great start, and they took just a little dip, and now they're back rolling again, 7-2-1, I think, in their last 10. So, real good, well-rounded team, deep team, great goaltending and special teams. So, a lot of dangerous players over there. So this will be a good one. We play them 3 times the next 3 weeks. It's a team we're trying to track down in our division. So they're all going to be even more important than what would be in a regular schedule for trying to make up ground.
No matter what kind of adversity hit your team, and it seemed like there was never wavering confidence. How important is that as you continue to make these positive strides?
Yeah, I think it's huge. It just kind of shows you the character of our group, the leadership that's in the room. I think, we've always felt like it was really strong, and it got tested this year. Like, that's a lot of adversity, a lot of guys out, frustrated. Losing can be frustrating, but I always felt like our guys were just like I never felt like they weren't giving it their all, even though we had some ups and downs in there. They were trying to, be solution-based and trying to find ways to win, regardless of who was in the lineup, knowing that at some point we would get some relief and get some help and get some guys back, and that some of the adversity would end. But it's taken a lot longer than what we thought, and we've got to a good spot with our game. But now I want to see what it looks like when we start adding more guys back in the lineup.
What kinds of things do you want the team to leave in 2024?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't believe you leave it like anything. And I think you have to learn from all the, things that you go throughout the course of the season. It's what makes you who you are come playoff time if you're fortunate enough to get there. And I think, remembering all the good times and bad, how we worked through it, how we didn't some nights, I think that's part of the growth process to our team. So we're drawn on situations that happened 2 months ago still to this day, like in our meetings, and trying to recall how we played in Winnipeg and what worked and what didn't. And I think so having a long memory on some of that stuff is a good thing.
Any New Year's resolutions for the team?
No.
What about yourself?
No.
Was there an update on Ivan after being evaluated? Ivan.
Yeah, he's going to go on IR today, so he's going to miss a little bit of time. I don't have an exact timeline on him, though. I'd say week to week.
Winnipeg's coming off the back-to-back. What are you expecting out of them tonight?
I expect them to play really good hockey because that's what they've done all year long, regardless of back-to-back or not, right? Like, we're a rested team. We should be a hungry team. We're looking to have a good start here tonight at home. But they're going to play a good hockey game. They always seem to, no matter who it's against and no matter what the schedule put to them. They're not sitting in first place with that record without playing really good hockey on every night.
How would you assess the goaltending right now?
Strong. Really strong. Yeah, I think they've given us a chance to win every game. They've kept us in games. They've made big saves. They've given us a chance if we've come out slow to get our legs underneath us. They're doing what they're supposed to do.
Two last ones, please.
Blackwood starting to.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Coach.
So there you go. Jared Bednar heard it from the horse's mouth. No New Year's resolutions, which understandable. You want to just keep doing what you're doing based on their last 4 games. Yeah, right? Not all that complicated. Look, the Avs, even with Ivan out, in theory are a better team today than they were last game. Realistically, is this team going to contend for top in the Central Division? Can this team realistically chase down the Winnipeg Jets? Or are we saying, hey, the Avs are 4 points behind Minnesota for second in this division. Let's go get that.
If you go back to like 2 weeks ago, remember, we did a show on that. I gave my prediction. I just, nothing against the Winnipeg Jets. I like the Winnipeg Jets. I think they're well built. And again, you have good goaltending. It can take you places. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying it's just goaltending. That's not what I'm saying.
It does
but
help,
he
though.
is competing for the Vezina every year, in contention every year. So it does help. But I felt that the Avalanche were going an upswing. I felt that as we were saying that the Wild was going to keep up their run. And again, I've proven wrong because the Wild have gone really, back to reality a little bit the last 2 weeks. And Winnipeg hasn't. I felt that Winnipeg would drop a little bit. I still feel that they will. I still feel that this is going to be a race. You're still, 40-something games away. So I do believe that it will be a race. I do believe that the Avs go on an upswing. I do believe these guys go down a little bit. But it starts with a game like tonight. That's why a game like tonight's important. And again, we talked key number one, games within the game for tonight, but also mentally, games within the game in the standings right now. You know what I mean? You want to, this is who our team is. We are rested tonight. We are, and then Winnipeg's got every excuse in the book tonight because it's the same thing as the Avalanche have had those excuses. They're facts. We played last night. We have our backup goalie in. You know what I mean? So it's like, try to beat us, but if you beat us, you're really not scaring us. You know what I mean? It's kind of one of, but if you're the Avalanche and you drop it, it's like you're giving them momentum because it's like, hey, we even beat you on a back-to-back with our backup goalie. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So you get a little bit of swag and you know what I mean? So those games are important. They mean nothing come playoff. We all know that. But it's very important that you get on the right foot on this homestand right now. And then, again, we got Parson in. That's going to leave a good impression or not tonight. You can only
He's
have
finished,
a first.
so hat trick required.
Exactly. I was going to say, first impression only happens once, right? You know what I mean? So it's important to see what's in the tank tonight for the Avalanche. And I'm glad that it's the Winnipeg Jets in town because it's a big test. They're they're an excellent team.
They are. We'll get to some predictions in just a second here, but let's get to my pregame picks presented by Bet365 first, where we keep things never ordinary. I know the Avs are at home, but really, first of all, I want to see a good road period in the first period out of the Avs. We know the Jets' legs will go. We know they'll be tired, so don't fall behind early. Come out of the first period tied or better. You'll feel good. If the first period's a tie, it's plus 230. Good money there. Then I'm getting on the New Year's Eve train with the train. Nichushkin first goal. That's what I'm going with at plus 1,100. Oh, pretty good money for Nuke, who's been pretty darn good for the Avs at putting pucks in the back of the net so far this year. And then Shakespeare back to Wrighton. Jonathan Drouin with an assist at plus 190. Let's see the man feed. He's only played 5 games this year. Has 4 points in those 5 games. So when he's been in the lineup, he's produced.
Is it crazy he's only played 5 games?
Yeah, I know.
That's crazy.
So some good options there for the Avs. You can get some good money on this game, actually, I think, if you're betting on the Avs, which doesn't happen all that often. So jump in with Bet365 today. Of course, when you do bet with them, you must be 21 or older, physically located in Colorado. And if you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER today. And, of course, use the code DNVR365 when you sign up. All righty. You just missed last one. You had 3-1. It finished 4-1.
I know.
What's the crystal ball say about the score tonight?
I'm going 5-1 good guys. 5-1 good guys. I am going Ross Colton. Ross
Roscoe.
Colton multi-goal game.
Okay. I'm here for that.
That's my prediction.
I like the two choices. I don't know if I see a 5-1. I think maybe more. I like your score from last time. I'm going 3-1 tonight. I think a tight little 3-1 from the Avs. As far as production-wise, I'm taking Parsonen for a goal.
All right,
I'm not going to go hat trick, but I'm taking Parsonen for a goal.
There's something in the water here with Finns.
I know. I don't know what. Like I said in my review video, they might have to rename Denver to Helsinki. So make them feel even more at home here. But
Yep.
we'll see. We'll see exactly who ends up stepping up for the Avs. I want to ask you a little bit of a different question here because we always talk about how important X position is. In a game like tonight against a team with tired legs, what is the most important position to succeed tonight? Is it goaltending? Is it your defensemen? Or is it your forwards?
How about all? Can I cop out on all three?
No, you
I
can't.
know I can't. I know. You know what? For me, I stick to goaltending because the way to get in a game when you're tired is to be gifted like a balloon or a beach ball that goes in, right? You know what I mean? And it's like that's why goaltending's been so good for the Avalanche on those since the trades, and I like it for that reason. So I'll stick to goaltending, even though all three have to be on point. You just can't give any gifts, you know what I mean? So
Yep.
I think it starts in the net, and then maybe on parentheses put discipline in there. You know, you don't want to take penalties for no reason. Put that on a asterisk.
I think discipline is on the top of the list of things the Avs need to improve for
Yeah.
sure. So it's been one of their biggest drawbacks even during this great stretch of hockey that they've been playing. So you'd like to see that improve, but their penalty kill's been good. Wouldn't mind to see the power play load up 1 or 2 tonight. That'd be good to get that back. I know they only had 2 opportunities the other night, but didn't score one. So you want to see that being consistent for you. You want to see the Avs play more. I don't know if a complete game is the right word, but look, that game against Utah felt pretty complete, even if it wasn't perfect. Now go do that against a good team like Winnipeg, even if they are on a back-to-back.
Yeah, and it makes you feel good. And like I said, and like you said, the most fun thing to look at tonight is, you got Drouin that comes back,
Yep.
which is fun. It's fun for Avs fans, and it's fun for the coaches, for the players. It's fun for him, you know what I mean, to finally get back, knock on wood, that everything goes well. And it's fun to see a new face in Parsonen. It's always fun to see a newcomer, to see how he fits, how he gels, how he blends, how he's utilized, by the coaches after a trade. It's always fun to see those guys. And again, like I said, you can only make a first impression once, right? So I think it's very important that guy like that does that. And it's fun tonight. Those are the storylines to look out for and to have a little bit of fun with during the game. So I like it. I'm excited for it.
Should be a fun one way or another. We are going to wrap up this one, but since we're back in the Toyota Lounge, we are back with the watch-alongs. Come
Yes.
join us for that. Should be a fun one. Don't think we'll quite make it to New Year's on the post-game since it's a 6 o'clock start,
know, yeah.
but make sure you join us for the post-game too. We appreciate all y'all hanging out with us. We'll see you in a couple minutes for the watch-along, or join us for the post-game at minimum. This has been the DNVR Avalanche pregame show presented by Coors Light.
We all silly like the mayor.